You can never be a part of me if you lay your sister, brother, mother, father, more than me. You coming on when you standing right before the G. You was counting money standing right next to a quarter key. I was in the 40 in the mud praying on my knees. You back in the 40 weighing drugs on a triple beam. They was looking at me when I stood cause I'm dripping clean. You ain't gotta tell them that you good when they triple team. Told us look up when you see the beam. I'm about to be took up. You gon' see me leave. I'ma say it got me hooked up with all the amenities. In the fire you be cooked up for my enemies. I don't believe in luck but I'm wearing green. I would never talk they put $1 million in front of me. I'ma keep it truck until I trample up under my feet. I ain't got a stick, I got a Bible up under my seat. Say a nigga hit rock bottom, got my rock on, y'all. Seeing pale people like Arco, seeing brown people serve them up like narcos. In the deep water with a shark hole, turn the red into the color purple like I'm Harpo.
What up, brother Pete?
The color green with a
we back.
Put them in the ring, we gon' beat them like Charlo. Look at yourself and tell me what you see.
Brother Chris, peace to you, brother.
What you see. And now you looking in the mirror like you done did something, but you know you didn't do it right. You can see you was thinking you was out of sight. You ain't realize all the eyes that was like a light. That's why I'm already looking bright. Every step I take, it ignites when I'm in the night. Seeing niggas looking tripe, looking for a bite. Force people trying to speak, but they ain't got a mic. But people in the streets, they ain't doing right. But I'ma let them know they can't defeat it, you the Israelite. Keep it like a lion when he in the fight. Can't believe these niggas thought I died when I gave my life. I'ma take it back, I ain't say I might. Earth about to turn black, then I took a flight. Watch the whole world go back when I squeeze tight. Stick it to the word, we ain't sticking to no rewrites. Seeing people pop pills till they pass out. Seeing young niggas walk around with their ass out. Niggas selling out, they got me for a cash out. All them fake friends didn't know me, so I mashed out. Had to learn to be on my own. Had to learn my seat on my throne. They about to burn in the heat of the cyclone. For the Lord, you be sleeping with the lights on. Nigga through the rebel with the sights on. Take a life for granted, you regret it when your life's gone. Looking back, you be looking like a catacomb. All them lies got you gassed up like a chemical. I be walking like a man, you be walking like an animal. Why you wanna kill your fellow man like a cannibal? Living with the blood on your hands like Hannibal. Like man, kinda put the hand to the
When people do you wrong, they don't never want you to tell the truth about it. But if you never did me wrong, you wouldn't be scared of the truth. Yeah. I got excited when I read your word about me. Took it to my people, but they act like they ain't heard about me. Lifted up my brothers, but they act like they ain't care about me. When I look them in their eyes, I know it's hard to bear without me. Got on my mission, had to make a hard decision. Had to change how I was living, to stop lying to my children. Had to tell my father that I never thought he loved me. My father was the one that came and got me when I was muddy. He wrapped me in my arms, said everything would be okay. I'm just glad that through it all, I got you here with me today. That's real. Now I'm climbing up the hill. I know I'm climbing till I'm finished, but I can't climb it if I'm killed. Yeah. So I'ma live by every word that proceed out of his mouth. I need you to when you see me, I proceed out of the south. You gon' see me when I gleam and I proceed out of them clouds. I was coming for his team and that's gonna be without a doubt. I was seeing in my dreams, I had to know what it was all about. When I see the Father's Venus, when you about to see me shout. Try to lock us all in Egypt, now we finally breaking out. Now we slaying all these demons and we yelling, bring them out. I can come for everything and I receive it full amount. Cause I'm fighting for the king, now we ain't fighting for your clout. Now I'm leaning on the things that be founded on the mountains. I be hearing all these things that I be singing out my mouth. I feel like in my soul. My soul, like my body going home. I feel it in my soul. Everybody be going home. You got to be going home. You got to be going home. You got to be going home. Yeah. Hamza. With my eyes wide open, we can get the life of the chosen. With my eyes wide open, living in a dream, wide awake, finding all my worst mistakes. I'm a king that tried to break. I be here standing when it shakes. Niggas truly being fake. I might be rude, but ain't a snake. My attitude be like a lake. To leave my swimming out of space. I'm out the hood without a trace. I'm looking good. Look at my face. You look like Suge, you out of place. I look like Pac that night and face. Feel like I didn't reach the final stage. Just found that peace with after rage. They thought I died. I turned the page. I paid the price for being paid. I come with haters in the shade. I lost it all, but still the same. Got something better in exchange. I'm living with me. Ain't got no change. Everything from where my brain got no vision like a train. I only focus on the man. Nigga know it's you insane. If you don't fuck me by my name, I'm the one you said you claim. Only want me in my veins. Only want me for the pain. Why they never took me there? 6 feet underneath the pavement. Why they never want to save a soul when you got time to save it? I live in the life of the chosen. I live in my life right open. In the sky where I'm hosting. Remember the day when I go with you. I live in the life of the chosen. With my eyes wide open. In the sky where I'm hosting. Remember the day when I go with you.
Started shortly.
Couple minutes gold and oil down on my head. And now they looking all confused at me like I'm different. Like I changed. You know they right. Yeah. Talk to my grandson. Let's go. You got a whip in the car, 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 you got a whip in the car. I'm gonna get to the top now, tripping up leading the mouth now. Know that I'm blowing a lot of love. You know you be talking, so watch your mouth. Ain't been feeling like this in a while. Feeling like this when I'm kissing my child. Speak this, and I'm feeling like wow. Must be the shit that they live in they power. Don't know the truth, make you look like a clown. Show you the proof, and I come to your town. Hop in the boom, now this shit going down. They got a clue when they hear my song. Walking this bitch like okay. Rocking this bitch like okay. Make you get the you wanna pay who it. Can't forget the bitches they made who it. Tryna get in, but it's just one way. You niggas tryna see, but it just won't pay. Tryna stay clean, but you got no name. When the sun go in, you ain't got no shade. Niggas took them blind looking like Ray. I'ma get them from behind looking like OJ. Turn them on the line like no way. I them every time that it go my way. I'm gonna take the top down. Jumping, I'm leading the mountain down. Knowing I'm blowing the line aloud. Oh, you be talking, so watch your mouth. Ain't been feeling like this in a while. Feeling like this when I'm kissing my child. Niggas be dissing, I'm feeling like wow. I must be this shit that can live in they power. I feel like a lion, you hear me growl. Feeling the furnace, I'm furnished and brown. I wrote this verse, it was purpose, but now I'm hard in this bitch, then my curtains come down. Straight to your bitch, gave it up for a crown. Hey, for a bitch, where she at when you down? She's where you at when you up. She can turn her back when you left her to the town. They ain't saying shit, but they be talking loud. These niggas be a tripping and printing them out. I ain't even got a clip, and none in this house, so can't even try to get what they talking about. They don't mean this shit, cause you got.
Bro said, I am the source of all abundance. I am power. I am eternally, unconditionally loved. Very powerful words, brother. Very powerful and very true words. I guess they're powerful because they're true. We about to get started. It ain't but a couple people in here, but gotta do what I gotta do. Hopefully more flockulators will jump in later on as the notification goes out, if there even is a notification going out. All right, we're gonna be reading from the book of Joshua chapter 1. The book of Joshua chapter 1. Now yesterday we were talking about Moses and the transition from Moses and that law that Moses gave to this new law and this new priest, and that transition, and how that causes a big problem for a lot of Israelites. And if you want to know just how few there are that are going to find this transition, I want you to consider the man that we're going to be reading about today, named Joshua. Now, when they came into the promised land, there wasn't a whole lot of people that entered in that were the original ones that came out. You see what I mean? All the other Israelites, they perished in the wilderness. You see that? They all perished. And a couple or a few made it into the new. Well, there's a reason for that. And we were talking about it yesterday on the live stream. This transition from these carnal laws, that, as the scripture called it, a carnal commandment. It's like men's ears just get dull. Like they shit just close up like this when you get to that part. That it was a carnal commandment. And then when you show these same people that was a carnal commandment, and then you show them the carnal mind is death, the carnal mind is enmity against God, then that should make their spidey senses go off saying, wait a minute, the carnal mind is death, carnal mind is enmity against God, and this was a carnal commandment. Wow. So it's meant for people that are fighting against God, not people that are fighting for God. Y'all understand that, little flock? And we're going to read about fighting for God, because that's what Joshua does. He fights for Abba, for I am. You see, he's a conqueror, a conquering lion. You see, Joshua is Yahusha, same name, same meaning. See that? All right. Let me see. All right. So we're going to get started with the reading, little flock. Joshua chapter 1, starting at verse 1. Now after the death of Moses, the servant of I am, it came to pass that I am spake unto Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' minister. Stop, little flock. Y'all see that? Didn't I tell you about a transition? So Moses died. That it was clear to make sure that it said that. And it's going to say it again. And there's a reason why it's saying it, that Moses' death, Moses died. It means the old was passing away and the new was coming in through Joshua, or Yahusha. Same name, same meaning, same seat, same position. You see? To lead the children of Israel from the wilderness into the promised land. You see that? They came out of bondage into the wilderness. So they were baptized to Moses from Egypt to the wilderness. Now they're going to be baptized with holy fire so that they can come from the wilderness into the promised land. See how that transition is going on through their travels? You see? And so they need a shepherd for each type of traveling. The wilderness traveling and the promised land traveling. You need a shepherd for both. You see? So one shepherd is passing away, handing the flock over to a new one. And Moses himself said that this would occur. Y'all see that little flock? He said it would happen. All right. So verse 2, he says, Moses, my servant, is dead. See what I mean, little flock? After the death of Moses, my servant Moses is dead. Y'all hear that? Y'all hear how it's saying it that way? Emphasizing that it's being passing away. It's being done away with. This old way, you see? Because now they're about to be taking on this newness. Watch. Moses, my servant, is dead. Now therefore arise, go over this Jordan, you and all this people, unto the land which I do give them, even to the children of Israel. See how that's going, little flock? So now that Moses is dead and the old is passing away, now you're being prepared to enter into the new. You see that? Brother Chris says, I just want to add that the word for wilderness, capital city, and Zion are all the same word. So they're going from the wilderness to the city now. Exactly. You see, it's just like Yahushua when he was crucified. He was crucified where? In the city? Okay. Watch this. Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, like Brother Chris is saying, every place your foot is treading upon, that have I given you, even as I said unto Moses. From the wilderness and this Lebanon, even into the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites unto the great sea toward the going down of the sun, shall be your coast. There shall not any man be able to stand before thee all the days of thy life. Stop right there, little flock. Y'all don't want to be in that position where no man can stand before you all the days of your life? Because that's what Abba is saying he's doing for Joshua here. You see that? The one who's going to lead them into the promised land. He says nobody's going to be able to stand against you. Now, Joshua has a choice there, doesn't he? He can either by faith believe that the word that he heard was true, or he can doubt it. But if he doubts it, then he's not Joshua. In other words, he's not salvation if he's doubting it. But if he believe it by faith, now he is Joshua, you see? So Yahushua, the same name, same meaning. When he came, what did he say? He said, shall the Son of Man find faith? Because that's what I'm looking for. Those are the kind of men I'm looking for to take this promised land with me. I told you guys, I don't want cowards. I don't want men that look mighty but are not. I want true mighty men, because David has mighty men with him. Doesn't he? Read your Bible and you'll see. Phoenix Queen in the building. Peace, peace. All right, we're going to continue to read it. At verse 5, where we left off. There shall not any man be able to stand before thee all the days of thy life. Y'all hear that? As I was with Moses, so I will be with thee. I will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. Sounds pretty good to me. It sounds like a good deal to me. What it sound like to y'all? Ain't nobody can stand before me. Abba will never leave me. He will never fail me nor forsake me. Y'all hear that, little flock? Now you can either believe that's true. See, because the reason why I'm emphasizing this is because he said that to them the whole time they were in the wilderness. They just didn't believe it. They provoked God. They were faithless. They were perverse. They did not enter in for their unbelief. This thing I'm saying that the children of Israel are entering into, the ones that perished, they didn't enter it because they didn't believe it. That's the only reason they didn't enter it. He said no man can stand before you. So if you start looking at the promised land and you see the men in there and you go, well, there's no way we can go off in there. They're giants. We're nothing but grasshoppers. We're not going to leave. They're going to kill us all. You understand what I'm saying? If you have that mind state, then you're not going to enter in, because he said, can't nobody stand before you. I am power. Now, who can stand against that? He who within me is what? So if some niggas in the world, is he more powerful than he who is within me? Is he? So then what do I need to gravitate to in the time of trouble? He who is within me, not outside of me. And who's within you, little flock? Do y'all know? Because I do. Because I do. Now watch this. And then y'all are going to understand the boldness. See, the boldness is coming, the bright light coming out of the school of marvelous light. Why it's so bold, confident. You see, you're going to understand why. Because we're coming into our promised land. Some are already in it, and they're going to go back and pull some others into it. And we're going to read it. Watch. So he says, I will neither fail thee nor forsake thee. Verse 6. Be strong and of a good courage, for unto this people shall thou divide for inheritance the land which I swear unto their fathers to give them. Watch verse 7, little flock. Only be thou strong. See how the kind of man I'm talking about? I am strong. Let the weak man say what? I am strong. Only be thou strong and very courageous. So just courageous? No, be very courageous, that you may observe to do according to all the law. Here we go. Here come the far from seas. Yeah, here we go. This is the part of the message I was waiting to hear. Well, I hope you're waiting to hear this next part that I'm going to drop on you. Hope you hear the next part I'm going to drop on you. All right. And observe to do according to all the law, which Moses, my servant, commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand, nor to the left, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest. Y'all hear that, little flock? Verse 8. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. So then he said, if you do something, then. So if we want prosperousness, do we want to prosper, little flock? Because I do. How about y'all? Y'all want to prosper? He says, good success. Do you want good success? Because I do. Y'all want some good success? Well, he told us how to get it. He says, do and observe all things that are written in his law. You see that? And I'm going to show you how to fulfill that. How to fulfill everything that's written in the law. We're going to cover that today so that you can enter into the spiritual mind. You see that? Because you must fulfill the law to enter in. Remember when the man asked Yahushua, he said, what must I do? And Yahushua said, keep the commandments if you would enter into life. What is life? The spiritual mind is life and peace. See how that's working? So in order for you to pass from the carnal into the spiritual, you must keep his commandments. And they're not grievous and they're not hard. But most men don't know how to fulfill it. In other words, how to bring it to completion. They're struggling. They're doing all kinds of things, working and working and working, not understanding the simplicity of how to bring the law to completion. But we're going to make it very simple and plain for everybody to see. Let me see what y'all are saying here real quick before I continue. I am that I am. That's right. I am. There we go. All right. Thank you for putting the scriptures up there. All right. Now we're going to continue. Watch this, little flock. Let's jump down to verse 13. Okay? Jump down to verse 13. Remember the word, watch this, little flock. Remember the word which Moses, the servant of I am, commanded you, saying, I am your power, has given. He's going to give. He thinking about giving. He might give. He's on the fence about giving. Is that what it says? What do it say? It say he has given. What did he give? Have given you rest and have given you this land. So it's already been given. You see what I'm saying, little flock? He already gave the rest. Now, the thing is, there are many unbelievers who do not believe in this rest. Therefore, they do not enter into it. So the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. What are we harvesting people for? To enter into what, little flock? Could it be the kingdom which is within you, which is the spiritual mind? That's where we're grabbing the wheat and pulling them into out of the tares, which are carnal. You see that? Now watch this, what he says about the rest, because it's going to get very interesting. Watch what he says. Your wives, your little ones, and your cattle shall remain in the land which Moses gave you on this side Jordan. Watch this. But you shall pass before your brethren, armed, all the mighty men of valor, and help them. You see that? So some people are passing over the mighty men, like I told y'all about. You see that there? They're going to pass over. Joshua going to pass over with them and help them. See, he's going to be a help to the mighty men, the branch and the branches, guys. Is this hard to be understood or is it easy? You see? He says, but you shall pass before your brethren armed, all the mighty men of valor, and help them, until I have given your brethren rest, as he hath given you. Do y'all hear this? The rest you already are experiencing, he's going to share that with your brothers. You see? Which is why people find it so perplexing what I'm saying about rest, that I have entered into his eternal rest. You see that? People find it very strange, and they're like, wait a minute. But rest is just one day a week, and then you go back, and then you do one day a week, and then you go, and then it's one day a week. You see? They get all confused and everything. Well, those are the brothers that need to be strengthened. We just read about it. They need to be strengthened so that they may have faith, so that they may enter in by faith, not by the works of their hands anymore, because that's what they're doing. They're faithless, which makes them work by their hands to enter in. Nope, you enter in by faith. Just come on in. He already gave it to us. I am experiencing the promised land. See how I'm speaking as though it already is? Because he already said he did it. See, I'm speaking by faith, not by sight. You see it? Isn't it clear? All right, continuing. He says, until the Lord have given your brethren rest, as he hath given you, and they also have possessed the land, which I am your power have given you. See? So they'll also be where you at. Like Yahushua said, see, Joshua, where I am, there you may be. See it? Y'all are on that side of the Jordan, which is on the left side, the carnal side. You got to go down, descend to the lowest state of humility, which will cause you to pass over to the other mind. See right there, little flockulators? So he wants to bring you to the other mind. You see that? The Savior does. Where he is, there you may be. You see? Watch this. Then you shall return unto the land of your possession and enjoy it, which Moses, I am's servant, gave you on this side Jordan toward the sun rising. And they answered Joshua, saying, all that thou commandest us we will do, and whithersoever thou sendest us we will go. So now they have given their allegiance from Moses over to Joshua. That's what the nation of Israel is having a hard time doing right now. Do y'all understand that? That's what the people are having a hard time doing. Giving their allegiance from Moses to Yahushua. They're having a hard time doing it. Can't you see it in the world? Can't you see that stumbling stone that they're all stumbling at? All right. So they said, we're going to do what Moses told us to do. Now watch what they say next. According as we have hearkened unto Moses in all things, so will we hearken unto thee. Only I am your power be with you as he was with Moses. See, the same power that was with Moses, which is what, guys? What is the power that was with Moses? You guys been saying it. It's I am. So that same power that was with Moses is now going to be with Joshua. I am. It's not going to change, guys. So when Yahushua said, I come in my Father's name, what name did he come in? Now, do you see why all those teachers of the Levitical law do not teach in the name of I am? Do they? Before I continue, do they? I ask you guys. Those teachers of the Levitical law, do they come in the name of I am? Verse 18, watch this, little flock. Whosoever he be that doth rebel against your commandment, Joshua, whoever rebels against what you tell them and will not hearken unto your words and all that you command them, he shall be put to death. Only be strong and of a good courage. The same thing. Be strong and of a good courage. Y'all hear that? And whoever doesn't listen to you, what's going to happen to him? So whoever doesn't jump over to the other side and accept the new shepherd, what happens to them? Brother Chris said, no Peroni. I see you got your ditto. No Peroni. That's right. No Peroni. So he says, if you don't listen to the commandment of Yahushua, what happened to you? You cut off. That's right. You're DEAD, as I say. And that what he said, he shall be put to death. So what is that saying? It's saying if you remain under Moses and don't transition to the new covenant under Melchizedek, Yahushua, then you will perish doing that. As he said, you shall die in your sins. Sins means wrong thought. So you're going to die in wrong thought if you do not enter right thought. Isn't that interesting? All right. So now, what is the thing that people, if they don't enter it, they're going to die? Or in other words, he said keep the commandments, right? How do we fulfill and do that? I'm sure you guys here at the School of Marvelous Light already know this, but I'm going to go ahead and share it for those who may not know. So if we don't listen to his commandment and do it, that's what was said there, then you're going to die. So then we need to know what his commandment is then, don't we? So we don't die. So before I read this, what do you think is the commandment of Joshua? What did he command the people? Well, we're going to go ahead on and hop to the book of John. John chapter 15. We just read this the other day. John chapter 15, verse 12. What does that say there? John chapter 15, verse 12. This is my commandment. So if you want to know what Joshua would have told the Israelites there, what to do, it's going to be the same thing that Joshua of the new, Yahushua, is going to be the same thing his commandment was. So let's see what it is. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Why am I doing all that? Because it's so simple, isn't it? But look how men do not think that's sufficient. Well, now I'm about to prove that that commandment is sufficient to fulfill the law. I'm going to prove it. Okay? Because when you hear that commandment, you say, that's it? That's all I got to do? As if that ain't enough. As if that's not enough to do. To have a nation, to have a tribe, to have a company, to have friends. Isn't that commandment enough and sufficient to have friendship, to have a marriage? If you stand up there to get married and the magistrate or pastor is marrying you and this woman, and he just simply says, do you promise to love one another as Christ has loved you? And that's the end of it. There isn't all of this, I promise to have and to hold. In sickness and in health, and to death do us part. And all this nonsense. Do you promise to love each other the way Christ loved you? Because when your mind is focused on how Christ loved you, you get humble. But look how many people are prideful when they enter into a relationship. And then when it fails, all they do is blame the other person. They don't take any accountability for the thing they've done. As soon as you say, oh, you and so-and-so fell out, what happened? Man, that nigga, you already know it's coming. He cheating on me. People think cheating is just the number one excuse to sever something. Even though everyone cheats on God and he ain't severed your ass. But look how people act with each other. God forgave me when I did all that cheating on him. But if somebody cheat on me, I'll kill them dead. Well, that's that leaven that we were told to stay far away from, isn't it, little flock? Do y'all know the leaven I'm talking about? Do y'all know the leaven I'm talking about here? It's called hypocrisy, and everybody's filled up with it. They don't consider themselves when they're doing something to another person. They're not considering it being done to them. So then they're not focusing on what Joshua said, Yahusha said, the one who's taking you into the spiritual. So then you see how they can't enter into the spiritual? They're stuck in carnality, unable to be free from it because they don't accept the truth of their own selves. I'm clean, but that person is wicked and a devil. That's everybody's way they talk. It's just said differently by each person, but that's what they're saying. It's always somebody else's fault. And this is sin nature that came from the beginning from Adam and Eve. What did they do when they got in trouble? I always reference it. Did Adam and Eve take accountability for the wrong thing they had done? Did they? That's right, Brother P. Hypocrisy is that leaven. People will judge someone harshly, even though they've done the same thing. They'll judge another person harshly for them doing it. And like I said, everybody's doing terrible things to God every day, but they deny that because they're unaware that they are. Why do you think Yahusha said, forgive them for they know not? They're so blind with hypocrisy, they don't even know their own sin. They can't see their own sin. When niggas talking about they ask God for forgiveness. How can you ask God to forgive something that you can't even see you've done? Pride blinds, period. That's why he says they be blind leaders of the blind. Who? The hypocrites. The same people he said, they have leaven. They are the blind leaders of the blind, you see? Brother Chris says the parable of the two men in the temple, the Pharisee and the tax collector, that was exactly what was going on too. Exactly right. I thank you, Father, that I'm not like all these other street rat scallywags around me. They're so evil and filthy and disgusting and dirty that I just thank you, God, that I'm not like them. I thank you that you have made me so much higher than everybody else. That's what Brother Chris is talking about. I'm just giving y'all a nice illustration of it. You see what I mean? Instead of the other guy, the tax collector, see, who outwardly looked like a wicked guy, but inwardly he was saying, I'm a sinner, man. I have done something wrong. What did Yahusha want those men that were about to stone that woman to see? What did he want them to see? I have done wrong. I have sinned. So I can't throw a stone. Throwing the stone is when you go, but that person, this person's wicked. That person's dirty. I don't agree with the way that person lives their life. Well, what about all the disgusting things you do in the way you live your life, nigga? Huh? See how nobody wants to hear that? I'm not leaving a cloak for no nigga sin. Your ass filthy and dirty. You can't tell me that you're not. God told me that you already are. And only Abba is good. So then when you try to stand in front of me talking about, look how good I am, I automatically know that you're not. Because if a nigga wanted to try to convince somebody that he was good, then he did a piss poor job by saying that to me. Because Abba said, what happened when Yahusha said, when a man said that to Yahusha? He said, ain't no man good. So then I'm going to listen to Yahusha once again. So then you said you good? No, you ain't. No, you're not. So that's why I look at people who don't take self accountability and just shake my head. What are you doing? Why are you wasting time taking or blaming when that won't count? Listen to what the grandson's saying to you guys. Abba's sitting there and he's asking you about what you've done, and all you start talking about is what everybody else has done. And so he'll just wait. God, this person, that person, this, and they did that, and then they got an advantage over me there, and then they took advantage, and they hurt me, and they cheated me, and they lied to me. And God's like, are you done? Yeah, I'm done. Okay, it was all vanity and a waste of time because I didn't hear any of that you said. Now back to you. What did you do? I know. Here come the Neanderthal time. The Pharisee was saying, I am not. Meanwhile, the sinner was saying, I am. There you have it. He's telling the truth while the Pharisee's lying, making a false image like they all do. They do all they do to be seen of men. That's Yahushua saying that there. All right. So now, he said his commandment was that we love one another. Now, if a man hears that, he might say, okay, love one another. And then what else? He's got his notepad, his pen all ready and shit. Okay, and then what's the next part I got to do? Love. But, and see, the same people that are doing that, they don't even know what love is. They haven't even practiced love to be able to work and do it. And yet they're saying, what else? Look at the tomfoolery of that. Okay, love your neighbors. Okay, what else do I got to do? Plus, I got to do some plus stuff too, right? Love and then some more stuff, right? Well, do you actually know how to love? No. Well, then why don't you learn how to do that first, nigga? Because if you don't have a cornerstone, see how it's just rejected? See how I'm proving it to you? That love is the thing that's rejected at every turn. Oh, man, fuck that. Let's get a divorce. What did you reject in order to get that divorce? Oh, fuck that. We can't be friends anymore. What did you have to reject in order to say that? Let's go across the ocean and enslave all those people, put chains all around their neck and everything, and drag them all the way across the ocean and make them slaves over there. What are you rejecting in order to even produce that result in yourself to go and put your hand to do it? What are you resisting against? That same cornerstone that the builders always reject. The builders are niggas that build societies. And when you build a society and you reject the cornerstone, it's just a matter of time before it comes a toppling on down. But you think that, well, I'm having so much fun today, so then what does it matter what comes next? Guess you don't give a shit about your children. Because Abba says, prepare slaughter. See? See how that worked out? That's stupid to do that to your future generations. To do something so wicked with your generation that your third or fourth generation have to end up paying the price for the shit. But what did he say? Prepare slaughter for the children. Wow. That makes people get up in arms when they hear that. Oh my God, really? Well, God wouldn't be saying that unless some men decided to go and slaughter some children. They had to slaughter some children first. You reap what you sow. Who sowed some slaughtering of children? Some slaughtering of children. Who sowed that in the earth in order for God to be saying, prepare slaughter for your children then? You want to kill my children, then prepare slaughter for yours. You reap what you sow. That's the law. I'm going to prove to you, you're going to keep it too. You're keeping it without even knowing you're keeping it. You're going to reap what you sow. Now, who told us you reap what you sow? Y'all know who told us that. The same one who told us everything else that matters and of value. That if you don't listen to him, you die. So I guess maybe y'all don't think that's true. Well, let's continue. So he said, my commandment is that you love. Right, little flock? Did he say anything about diet? When he said my commandment, did he say anything about diet? But look at men. Look at men, though. Did Yahushua say anything about your clothing? When he said, this is my commandment? But look at men. Look what men say. Did he say anything about what to do on a certain day? When he said, this is my commandment? But look at men. See, the one who loves you is going to tell you the solution, the true solution, right? So that you can be free. Well, Yahushua just told you the true solution when he said, this is my commandment. And I'm going to prove to you that commandment, if you keep it, is sufficient. Watch. Romans chapter 13. Romans chapter 13. Verse 8. Okay, little flock, now watch this. Owe no man anything but to love one another. But to love one another? Is that not the commandment that Yahushua told us? So then that's what we owe one another, to keep God's commandment. You read the book of Ecclesiastes, what does it say? Fear God and keep his commandments. This is the whole duty of man. So then, loving my neighbor is fulfilling what God wants me to do. I'm about to prove that. For he that loveth another, so he that loveth or he that loveth another, he that loveth another hath what? Foot sweep these niggas real quick, flockulators. What does it say? I don't want to say it. I want you guys to tell me what it says, so I can make sure that y'all hearing this too. He that loveth another has what? Bingo, bingo, bingo. Fulfilled the law. Fulfilled the law. So if you love another and God shows up while you're loving this other person, when God appears, you think he's going to be angry that you didn't have on the right clothes? For instance, you were asleep in your bed, and then all of a sudden you heard some glass break. Some niggas then broke into your house. Well, you run down the stairs, you see this nigga has your wife all hemmed up and everything, wrestling with her. So you clock his ass, knock his out. His homeboy tried to jump on your back. You elbowed the shit out of him like some MMA shit, flipped his ass up in the air like Rampage Jackson, slammed his ass down on his back and knocked him unconscious, and came down with the people's elbow on his shit. And God happens to come in the room right there and say, hey, he's going to be mad at you because you were in your boxers instead of your fringes and border of blue. That's what you guys are trying to convince me of. Do y'all understand what I'm trying to say to you? He's looking at what you're doing from the intention of your heart. And that man that's protecting his wife in that moment, the intention of his heart is love, correct? That's why he's putting himself in harm's way on her behalf. He's putting his life at stake. What's more greater love than that, little flock? So then he is accepted by God, even though he's standing there in his drawers. But the priest is standing there in a holy robe garb with a crucifix with Jesus Christ carved upon it, with a crown of thorns on his head and everything, and he's speaking Latin and everything, with an incense censer swinging it back and forth like this here. But yet in his heart, he's harboring all kinds of wickedness, covetousness, sneakiness, and all types of evil, excess and extortion. But outwardly, oh yeah, he's adorned beautifully. But that man standing in his drawers may be a little immodest, but he's accepted by God. Y'all didn't read about David when he danced into his drawers? All right. For he that loveth another has fulfilled the law. So when Joshua was told to keep Moses' commandments, how is Joshua supposed to fulfill what Moses told him to do? How does he do it? That's my next question. And I'll continue after y'all answer that. How is Joshua going to lead the children of Israel and keep the commandments of Moses? And we just saw Moses was passed away and died. So what is Joshua going to do with these commandments that Moses gave him? He's going to fulfill them. How is he going to do it, little flock? Bad, y'all had to get a charge. All right, that's the question. Joshua's taking over from Moses, and now he was told to do the law of Moses. Don't go to the right hand, to the left hand, but keep those commandments. So now what is he going to do to fulfill them? We just read it, but I'm just asking to make sure you guys are with me here. What must Joshua do? Brother Chris says, by loving the people like he loves himself. What better leader would you want? A man who loves much. What better king do you want? But a man after God's own heart. A man who has a heart like God has, a forgiving man, a compassionate man, a righteous man who loves his brothers as he loves himself. Did y'all not read when David said, I'm thirsty, man. I want some water from that well. And his men broke through the line of the Philistines and broke through and took that water and brought it to David. And David said, y'all sacrifice your life to bring me this water. I can't drink that. And he poured it out. So you see how he loved his men more than having a drink of fucking water? He loved his men more than that. That's the kind of leader you want. One that loves his people, you see? So that's why God chooses who he chooses. Makes sense? What about Moses? Why did Moses kill that Egyptian? I ask all that. Moses killed a man, but why did he kill him? Talk about my gas in my car. Yeah, my gas on E, y'all. I'm trying to get some charge, but my gas is really on E. Matter of fact, let me show y'all. It ain't no joke, y'all. My junk is all the way on the E. So I can't be having the car running too much. My gas kind of. But back to the message at hand. Y'all hear that? Y'all hear that? What do you got to do, y'all? Love his brother. That's right, Phoenix. He got to love his brother. So watch this. Watch what this is going to say here. Back to Romans. Verse 9. 13, verse 9. For this, listen, little flock, thou shalt not commit adultery. Stop. Who told us that? Who told us thou shalt not commit adultery? Who said that? That's right, Brother P. That would be Moses. So do you see how he's referencing Moses here? After he said love fulfills the law, now he's going to show you how it does. And because we're going to fulfill what Moses told us so that we can inherit the promised land. Men don't think that that's how you do it, the way we're doing it. Watch, let's prove it. For this, thou shalt not commit adultery. Brother P said Moses told us that. He's right. Thou shalt not kill. Who told us that? Moses. Thou shalt not steal. Who told us that? Moses. Levi. See how that's working? Thou shalt not bear false witness. Who told us that? Moses. Levi. See how that's working? But watch this here. Thou shalt not covet, and if there be any other commandment. So now tell me any other one. I don't care what it is. Don't eat this. Don't sit there. Don't wear that. Don't sniff this. Don't drink that. Don't wear that hat. Don't. Y'all understand what I'm saying? If there's any other commandment, so I want you to get all the commandments Moses told you. Okay? Anybody listen to this? Take every single commandment that Moses and Aaron from the tribe of Levi told you guys. Take them all. Because we want to be able to do them so that we can get into the kingdom, right? I'm going to show you how to do them. Watch this here. If there be any other commandment, it is briefly. It is briefly. Do y'all understand the word briefly? Briefly means in a few words. Y'all hear that? In a few words or in a concise manner. So if I want to take that whole big ball of commandments and make it into a few words to tell somebody what to do, watch this, then what should I tell them? Well, let's see here. It is briefly comprehended. Do y'all understand the word comprehended? Comprehended means fully understood or to grasp something, to understand what something is trying to tell you what it means. So all those commandments I got sitting in your hand called Moses' commandments, they're all easily understood, easily, fully grasped in this saying. So I can tell you all the things that Moses told you to do by saying one thing to you. And what is that one thing that I'm supposed to say to you? Well, let's just take a look here in verse 9 and see. Namely, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. So then how do you love yourself? That's the question. Well, them far from seasoned hypocrites, they hate themselves. So they damn sure can't love their neighbor because they hate themselves. So you can't love your neighbor. To prove you hate yourself, you're always cleaning yourself up. You're always trying to make yourself more beautiful. You're always trying to make yourself more valuable. You're always trying to make yourself appear to be more than what you are. That means you ain't shit. A nigga that's dirty clean up all the time. A nigga that's clean don't gotta clean, nigga. See what I'm saying to y'all? See how this is strange to them far from seas what I'm saying? See this? Watch this. Verse 10. Love works no ill to his neighbor. So all of that stuff you were reading that Moses was saying, don't steal. Does that hurt your neighbor if you steal from him? Yeah. Let's go back to first grade, I guess. Yeah, it does. Does committing adultery cause people to kill people and people to hate one another and want to backstab and do all kind of evil shit to one another? Yeah, it does. So then that's working ill to my neighbor, isn't it? Yeah. So then everything that I'm about to say is working ill to my neighbor. So then I would just say, don't work ill to your neighbor. Love your neighbor. Now, in order for you to do that, you have to know what love is. Most people don't know. Just ask them. They're going to get Neanderthal time. I don't care what you do. All you need to do, if you want to know what love is, well, you know, I got a little bit of time. Let me just go ahead on and break it down for you now. But let me finish what I'm reading here. Love works no ill to his neighbor. Therefore, love is the what of the law? Love is the what? Love is the what? I know it ain't but a few of us in here, but somebody can answer that question. That's easy. Love is the fulfilling of the law. That's right, y'all. So now, what does the word fulfill mean? What does fulfill mean? It means to complete. Look at this. To complete, to satisfy the requirements of. Do y'all hear this? To achieve something. Achieve mean to get it. So then how do you get the reward for keeping the Mosaic law? How do you get the reward of it for fulfilling it? By loving. So then what in the hell everybody else is running around telling you about the shit that ain't got nothing to do with loving? Because they don't know what love. What did Yahushua say? You don't know my Father. Do you know what he means when he says you don't know my Father? What is he actually telling them? You don't know what? If you don't know his Father, he's telling you that you don't know what? Don't know love. Exactly, guys. That's exactly what he's saying. You don't know how to love one another. And until you guys learn how to, then you will never have anything. Isn't that obvious? What would you do with your own children? You walk in the house, your two kids are fucking kicking each other's ass and everything. You break it up and you say, what are y'all fighting over? Some dumbass toy. You're like, why are y'all fighting? You know what? Until y'all can learn how to treat one another, y'all ain't getting no toys. Neither one of you will. Until you can learn how to respect and love one another and treat each other right. Isn't that what you're going to do? Well, maybe not in this world. But that's what you should do, right? Why? Because the number one principle is that they love one another. Not no fucking toy. Not no clothes or properties. It's that they care for one another and take care of one another. That is my number one priority with my children. So then if God's is not with his number one priority, well, if you don't know how to love, then you need baby steps to teach you what not to do. And that's what Moses' law was. That's why it's called a schoolmaster. Do grown adults go to schoolmasters or do little babies go to schoolmasters? Guys, come on. Phoenix Queen, you already know where we're going. You already headed there, I see. Now watch this little flop. Verse 11, and that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. So what was the sleep people were in? Not knowing that love fulfills the law. So they're listening, they're sitting in a church or in a monastery or in a synagogue or any damn thing, a camp meeting. They'll sit there and listen to a person talk all day about rudiments, traditions of men, and things outwardly that they need to do to be right with God. Even saying things like don't steal, don't kill, don't. Guys, I want you to briefly comprehend it. Well, I don't want to complicate it. Didn't we just read that there's a way to briefly comprehend Moses? Didn't we just read that? And what is the way to briefly comprehend what he told us? Love one another. So now that I know that, what should I say? What should I teach? That's my question. What should anybody that knows this truth, what should they teach other people to do? That's my question. Then we'll continue. Any preacher of God, what should he tell people they should do? Go to 1 Corinthians chapter 13. All right. 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Now, anybody who says they know love, this is what they should be saying. When you say, well, what is love? I have to love my neighbor? How do I do that? This is the answer to it. This is the answer to what love is. You see what I'm saying? So any pastor or preacher should be able to tell you quickly what love is. He should be knowing what love is, right? If he's teaching. Okay. All right. That's right, y'all. Love your neighbor, obviously. It says, say 10 Hail Marys. Dip your finger into this holy water and dip it upon the tippeth of your tongue. And then shimmy back and forth for 10 minutes. And then, no, we ain't doing none of that shit, okay? We're not doing none of that. All right, see? We ain't got to read it, y'all. Brother putting it right there in the chat for anybody who wants to know what love is. It's right there in the chat. Okay? These are the things that love is. Now, some of those things on there are going to be offensive to men. Matter of fact, let's read it so that we can see the things that would offend a man to do. Okay? The first thing it says is that love suffers long. In other words, love is patient, long-suffering. It suffers for a long time, but do you see how as soon as somebody suffers in the relationship, they sever it? As soon as they experience some suffering, they cut the shit off. Hell no. You're no good. Damn it. Well, you said you loved that person. And about what they said to you. My question is, if you say you love a person, how do they, by their actions, change how you feel for them? You said you feel that way. So then you're proving that your love is work-based. When their works changed, your love changed. That ain't the kind of love God loves with. Is it? So then you don't know God. Plain and simple. That's why y'all can't do what Yahushua did and forgive your enemies. That's why. That's why you can't enter into life in peace, because you're still harboring bitterness, unforgiveness in your heart. If you knew love, then you would forgive quickly and easily, because you would say, I want to be forgiven quickly and easily when I make a mistake. Well, to assure that, then I will automatically forgive somebody who offends me very quickly. That will offend men. They will look at me like I'm stupid. They will look at me like I'm weak, but they always doing that to the righteous. What did they say about Yahushua? They said he had a devil, guys. I don't even got to say anything after that. They said he was doing what he was doing by the power of Beelzebub. They called him Beelzebub. So then outwardly, he must not have been doing nothing to appeal to their outwardly righteous senses. He must not have been, because they were offended at him. And then he said it. When it's come time for you to show the ultimate love of self-denial, all men shall be offended of me this day. Do you see what I mean? People are offended to what it takes to love. I'm losing if I suffer long. I look like a coward if I forgive him for what he did to me. Then you're offended at Christ, nigga. You're saying God looks like a coward when he forgave you. Do you understand that's what you're saying? God is a pussy because he forgave you for all the wicked shit you did? Don't look at me because I'm calling you out for your shit, whoever wearing these Cinderella slippers. Because that's how y'all treat one another. You treat each other harshly and most evil. And then you want to turn around and act like everybody's supposed to treat me good. And if they treat me bad, then they ain't shit. Well, then why don't you look in the mirror and see how you treat everybody else on a daily basis? How do you talk to people when they look at you? How do you look at them when they're walking past you? What are you putting off? What are you fulfilling? The lust of the flesh? The pride of the eyes? The pride of life? Oh, I'm better. I'm better. I'm better. That's what you fulfill? Or are you fulfilling love? To be suffering long, to be kind, to not envy, to not be vaunted up and puffed up and prideful, to not behave yourself unseemly, seeking not your own. Look at this. Men are too busy seeking their own to know God. That's why they don't know God, because they're too self-centered, minded on getting. What do you think Cain's name means? What do you think made Cain unacceptable to God? What do you think it is? Could it be his hatred for anybody else other than himself? I want something. I don't give a damn who I got to kill to get it. Well, then you can't enter in. But if you do what's right, then won't God accept you? That's what the Father even told Cain. That's what he even told Cain. And you can't forgive your brothers today who have not treated you like Cain and slayed you? You can't forgive them for the words they said? You can't forgive them for a nasty look? You can't forgive them for being pissed off that day? You can't forgive them for being short? This is the message people don't want to hear. They don't want to be told about their wicked, hard-ass, bitter-ass hearts every day, walking around with the coldest fucking ice in your chest. But you want to sit up there and say, I'm righteous before God. Look how I'm dressed. I don't give a fuck how it look on the outside. I'm looking at that iceberg in your chest that if a nigga try to hug you, he gonna sink like the Titanic when he hit your ass. Love is not easily provoked. Thinketh no evil. So if you love somebody, but yet you're thinking evil of them, then you don't love him. See? Because love doesn't think evil. So then why are you thinking evil, but then saying that you love? Because you honor with your lips, but your heart be far from. And y'all do that with every damn thing y'all do out there in the world. Y'all see that? Y'all see that? Thanks for putting the scriptures up there, Sister Phoenix Queen. She said, preach, brother. You know what I'm going to do. I can't help but say the things that come up in me to say. 6, rejoices not in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth. Bears all things, believes all things. See how people just don't know how to be self-controlled? Wait a minute. Believe all things. So if you're married, what you're telling me is that I got a wife. When she tells me she's going out to go do something, I'm supposed to just believe her? Do you love her? Yeah. Well, then yes. But I don't trust her. See? So then you don't fucking love her. So shut your ass up. See how that's working? Your fear is exposed. There is no fear in love, niggas. So if you got fear, what if she's doing this? What if he's doing that? He's probably cheating. I can't trust him. I got to look at his phone. I got to follow behind him and make sure he's really going where he's going. I got to put a tracker on her card. Make sure that she's going to where she said she's going. Then you don't love. You're so afraid. Perfect love cast out fear. So how you got fear, but you say you love? Skeet-dee-lee, can you see this angel flying back and forth across paradise with a flaming sword? He goes slice and dice. Can y'all hear it? He's not letting you into the Garden of Eden until you know how to love again, Adam and Eve. Isn't this simple what I'm saying to you? That's that energy y'all all hear coming out of me when I'm like, y'all don't know how to love. And then that ruh comes behind it. Why? Because God is not letting you back in until you know how to love. You're not going to the promised land until you know how to love. You can't do shit until you know how to love. You're not shit until you love. Now, any other questions, little flock? Any other questions? I don't see none. All right, then. So now, if somebody says, yeah, man, love, and they're not telling you that, then they don't know love. So then don't listen to them. That's what I would tell you. Because they don't know how to fulfill what is necessary to fulfill. Now, we're going to prove that real quick before we get on out of here. We ain't going to be here much longer, little flock. All right? Now, we about to prove this. All right? Go to 2 Corinthians chapter 3. Second Corinthians chapter 3. All right. Watch this, little flock. 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 12. Watch this. Seeing then that we have such hope. Remember, we talked about the hope yesterday. Seeing then that we have this hope, we use great plainness of speech. Isn't that what the grandson uses? I'm not playing around. I'm giving you guys the key right to the door. Love. Now find out what love is. Spend all your days being and consumed with that fire, because it's going to burn everything else off that is not love. You don't want anything in your temple that is not love, or your temple won't stand. You want it completely filled from to the brim with love, overflowing. Then it will always stand. You see it? So I use great plainness of speech to explain that to you all. Now watch. not as Moses. So Moses didn't use plainness of speech. Let's see what he did. Which put a veil over his face. So Moses put a veil over his face when he talked to the children of Israel. Why do you think he did that? Because there's a reason he did. Why do you think he did? Well, we're going to discover why. That the children of Israel could not steadfastly look to the end of that which is abolished. They could not steadfastly. Steadfastly means to be firm, steady, or to remain without changing, which means you can only look at it for so long before you have to turn away. You can only look at it so long before you have to turn away. That's the way people are with Moses. You hear it? Now watch. But their minds were blinded. Their what was blinded? Their minds were blinded. For until this day, see, little flock, just like now, until this day, there remains the same veil, untaken away in the reading of the Old Testament, which veil is done away in Christ. So let's break that on down, little flock. When you read the Old Testament, the Bible says you got a veil on your shit. Your mind is blind. You can't steadfastly even read the Bible for too long before you go, I want to do something else. I read a chapter. That was good enough. Turn the game back on. Don't you see it? And the reason why you're doing that is because you're not privy to the mysteries that make you go, I can't help but just keep reading it. I can't help but read. See, members of the little flock know that feeling I'm talking about right there. Phoenix Queen, you know all about it. We sat many a day just scouring through the scriptures, voraciously eating it. The Old Testament and all. Oh my gosh, look what it says here. Look what it says here. Look what it says. Look what it says. Look what it says. I don't have time to be watching no fucking game when I'm saying look what it says. But those other guys can't steadfastly look because they got a veil on their mind and their mind is blinded because they have not gone to the one who removes it. Now, who removes it? Joshua, Yahushua, or Christ, the Bible says, doesn't it? He got to take the blinder off your mind so that you can even understand what the Old Testament is saying. Is that true or am I lying? Phoenix Queen said true. Is that true or am I lying, guys? Well, let's see what it says next. Verse 16. Oh, excuse me, verse 15. But even unto this day, see, when Moses is read, thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not. Oh my God, okay. When Moses is read, the veil is upon their heart. See, your heart is far from me. Okay, fuck my neighbor over here. What does that say? Don't steal. I just won't let nobody see me when I steal then. What else it say? Don't kill. I'll just make sure ain't no witnesses when I kill. So you see, that's the kind of people you're talking to. Y'all just didn't know that. Yeah, I know them because I know the Israelites because I am one. I hang around them all the time. I know their hearts. They're a cowardly, scared-ass people. See, because they're not coming into love, and that makes them cowards, and cowards do like that. I hate that nigga, but I can't take it to his face. I ain't gonna say nothing to him. Y'all ever watch Friday? What happened when Debo rolled up on his bike? Yeah, when Debo come around, I be quiet. But when he leave, I be talking again. Just like all these niggas be with you. When you walk in the room, them niggas get quiet. But when you leave, they get to talking again. Yeah, fucking grandson. Nigga think he the only nigga in the world know God. He act like God only talks to him or something. Yeah, you didn't read about Moses' sister and how she talked about Moses? Yeah, I read it. Well, what did she say? Moses, you think God only talks to you? Sounds just like you, doesn't it? Now, what happened to Miriam when she talked like that about Moses? She turned leprous as snow. Do you know what leprosy means? It means you're a murderer. So do you see how you never had to touch me in order to get leprosy? You just had to hate me in your heart. And that's breaking God's commandment when you do that. But you got a veil on your heart because you think you can conceal your intention of your heart. Folly, foolishness, and dumb shit, if you ask me. All right, y'all. Continuing. Verse 16. Nevertheless, when it shall turn to I am. When what shall turn to I am? Your heart. Your heart, your mind. You must be transformed by the renewing of your what? Come on. Okay, then. Nevertheless, when it shall turn to I am, the veil shall be taken away. When your heart is ready and humble enough, then, you see it? Then that veil that's blocking you from understanding all of that stuff you're reading in the Old Testament, it will be removed and you will be able to see it and understand exactly what it's actually telling you. See that there? Y'all see that there? Now, I am is that spirit. And where the spirit of I am is, there is liberty. So when you see people putting you in chains, some teachers, yeah, you got to do this. The Old Testament says that. Moses says this. And they're going on to the Old Testament with that veil, and they can't even see it them damn selves, but they're so-called telling you, but they're putting chains on you. Then that's not liberty, is it? No, it's not. So we're supposed to be setting the captives free, not taking the captive out of one chain and putting him into another one. But we all, verse 18, with open face, beholding as in a glass the glory of I am, are changing into the same image, see, from glory to glory, even as by the spirit of I am. So once I am reveals himself to you, then you start to learn how to speak about I am. And when you're done speaking about him, you're going to end up where you spoke about him. See that there, little flock? And we who were all saying things like, I am healthy, you could have been in Lithuania, and I could be in New York, and she could be in Venezuela, and we're all saying, I am healthy. So we all end up in that city of health. Can you understand it? Can y'all understand what I'm saying to y'all? As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So you're not going to come into heaven saying, I am sick, I am stupid. You're going to be outside of that city saying that. You're going to be cut off from life speaking that way. So it doesn't matter what else you did outside. It matters what you did inside. But how many people are telling you this? How many people are telling you this? So now the purpose of this message is to make it clear that we have transitioned from the carnal 3D, how it looks on the outside. We've done away with that. That's done. That's that Hollywood, LA movie star shit that's fake. That shit is dead, done, and away with it. And now the real is here. You see it? Where there isn't any painting up, there isn't any putting on an illusion or putting on some clown show for a nigga. Nope. It's just being 100 and being real with who you are. And that's going to make people uncomfortable. Because like Yahusha, when he went to dinner with those Pharisees, didn't he just pick the food up like this and start eating it? Abba just too good. That's right. He's so good, and so good. Didn't Yahusha just walk up to the table, grab a chicken wing, broke it, and start eating it? And they were offended that he did that, wasn't he? So then see the liberty he gave himself? Even though, watch, you think Yahusha didn't know they'd be offended? In other words, what am I saying to you? I'm saying, when Yahusha went to that dinner, he knew he was eating with Pharisees and over-righteous people who kept these certain traditions. He knew that. He's there to destroy their traditions, to destroy their veil, see, to remove it. So he eats with unwashed hands to teach them true cleanliness. But look how they thought about what he did. Hear it, little flock. Look how they thought about what he did. They thought it was disgusting. So how many times in your life as the little flock are you going to be called to do something that looks completely disgusting and you may be too afraid to do it? Well, if you're too afraid to do it, then you're not being courageous like we started this message saying. Be of good courage and be very courageous and do the things Abba would have you to do. Because if you're in a group of cowards, when you are the brave one, aren't you going to do things that cowards find very distasteful? You're going to do things that cowards are going to find very, very scary. Don't do that, man. This is going to happen if you do that. Hey. Aren't they going to be like that because they're full of fear? They're going to think what you're doing is deadly, even though it's what's freeing you. It's what's liberating you. You see it? They don't know it because they don't have eyes to see it. But we that have eyes to see it, we do it. Y'all hear that, little flock? So it ain't been too many people came into the live today. I don't know. Maybe the flockulators are sleeping or doing something. I don't know. But for y'all who have come through, I hope that was edifying for you, knowing that the times that we're living in is this transition that I just described to you. It's about doing that internal work because that's where the pressure is, little flock. It's on the inside. It's that pressure we feel on the inside to stay calm, to stay peaceful, to stay in that eternal rest that he's given us. You see, because we're constantly being pulled left and right and enticed. But we want to stay in that perfect peace and in that place that he has told us that if we believe him and if we keep our faith in him, then we shall be where he is. Y'all hear me, little flock? Brother P said the issues of life come forth from the heart. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick. I'm always quoting that. Let's get that real quick before we end this message. Proverbs. Proverbs chapter 4. Okay, little flock, let's go there real quick. Watch this, little flock. Start at verse 20. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 20. My son, attend to my words. Incline thine ear unto my sayings. That's the father speaking to his son, he said, right? Let them not depart from thine eyes. Keep them in the midst of thine what? Of thine heart. For they are life unto those that find them, and health to all their flesh. They are what to those who find them? So those who find the words of the Father receive what? Life. Keep thy what? Keep thy heart with all diligence. Do you hear that, little flock? So let's get the word diligence. Diligence means to be careful, persistent in one's work or effort. You see that? To take close attention and care to what you're doing. So pay close attention. In order to pay close attention, you must watch. What did the grandson tell you guys? Watchmen should be telling all of you to watch your hearts. But how many of them tell you that? Not many. Look at Benjamin Netanyahu. Look what he's doing over there. He's doing something. Look, man, Trump, man. Look what he's doing. He's about to do this. So we were watching for him to do that. Now we're going to watch and see what he does next. Hey, Obama. He showed up. Oh, Michelle Obama wasn't with him. I'm watching that. I'm taking a note of that. Where the hell was she? God, this nigga is watching everybody and everything other than what? The place where love comes from. If they reject love, then they reject their own heart. Continuing. Keep thy heart with all diligence. What does keep mean? Watch over and protect. Watch over. See? Keep watch. For out of it are the issues of life. Out of what? The heart. So then the next issue you experienced, it came in your heart. And I know, babies, I know. Before I leave, I want to remind you all that the grandson knows. What do I know? I know that sometimes you're just sitting there and then a stupid ass thought comes into your head. An unclean thought, even. and you wrestle and you push it out of your mind. Nobody can see you doing this. You're just like, oh, word. See that feeling right there? That's what I mean. I know. And so when you've done that, little flock, my phone about to die, but when you've done that, you've created another issue. See? Oh, this is so this. Well, then that's the next issue. And I understand. We slip up sometimes, little flock, I know. We mess up sometimes. See, we go astray from the right thought. But then that's our opportunity to repent and to come back to the right thought concerning the thing that has us all feeling like this. And now we can breathe like this about it. Taking the breath, but taking it in the truth now. You see what I'm saying, little flock? So y'all be blessed today. Hopefully the next live stream we do will be a little bit more popping. But for y'all that came through, peace and blessings to you all. And hope that y'all have a blessed day. I'm about to go on and get on out of here and get back to these kids, little flock. And hopefully this little gas I got to make it home, like Phoenix Queen was talking about. But y'all be blessed today. And have a nice day. You too, brother. You have a blessed day. Thank you, brother, for all the beautiful preaching once again. Keep on flocking, loving. Love you, man. Love you guys too. Love all of y'all. Y'all have a blessed day today. Shalom, Israel.